Hi everyone, it's Miss Beryl, and today we're going to do some partial quotients, and we're going to follow these 10 steps that you see over here on the right. We're going to use the Big 7 method. Don't get too worried, it's a lot easier than it looks. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write our problem. I've already done that for you. I've picked 532 divided by 6. Next, I need to list the multiples of the divisor. Well, our divisor is the 6. That means that we have these 532 items. Let's pretend they're buttons. And we're going to put them into 6 different piles. Okay, so we need to list the multiples then of the 6. So to make that easier, I've created this chart over here on the right. I'm going to put a 6 in every one of these lines. Every line that comes before the multiplication sign. So I have, and I've got 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 10, and so on. Well, we only pick these numbers, 1, 2, and 3, 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 300, because they're easy for kids to follow. So watch what I'm doing. I'm just going to figure out what 6 times 1 is. Obviously, that is 6. And then 6 times 10, we just add a 0. 6 times 100, we add 2 zeros. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 20 would just be 12 with a 0, or 120. And then 6 times 200 is 12 with 2 zeros, or 1,200. And I continue to do this. I'm only going through 3 because we know that most kids in 4th grade should have these facts down. We don't have to really go any higher, but we could if we wanted to. All right, so I've now done this step. Next step says to look for the multiple closest to the dividend, but not bigger than it. So let's look. What is closest to the dividend? Our dividend is 532, but not bigger than 532. Well, that's going to be this 180 right here. So now that I've found that, I'm going to check that off. And it says subtract that multiple from the dividend. So I need to subtract 180 from the dividend. That is going to leave me with 352. Okay, so I have 352 left. I have 352 buttons left. But I have to do something here. If I gave out 180 buttons in all, that meant that I gave each group 30. So I'm going to write 30 right here. Now, I'm back to looking at did this one. Repeat steps 3, 4, and 5. Well, I have to repeat them because I still have 352 buttons left. So I'm going to look back at 3. Find the multiple closest to the dividend, but not bigger than it. Well, now we're talking about our new dividend of 352. So what's closest to 352 without going over? Well, it's 180 again. So basically what I'm saying here is I was just able to take 180 away from 532, and I know I can take 180 away from 352. So that's going to mean that I gave each group 30 more, and what I have left is 172. Okay, so I've did those steps again. Now it says repeat 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to look up here. I'm not going to need these anymore. I only have 172 left. I'm not going to use that because that's more than 172. But my list is telling me that this is my next closest multiple. So I'm going to subtract 120 from 172. That's going to leave me with 2 and 5, or 52. And how many did I have to give each pile? Well, 6 times 20 was 120. So I gave each pile 20 buttons. Now I have 52 left. Now here's where it gets kind of interesting, because the closest without going over is 18. But I do know that 6 times 8 is 48. So I know that I can give each group 8, and that will be 48 total. So I'm going to subtract that off. So that's going to be 12 take away 8 leaves me with 4. And 4 take away 4 is 0. So I'm done, because look what happens next. It says stop when you get as 0 or a number smaller than the divisor. Well, I got a 4, and a 4 is smaller than the divisor because our divisor is 6. Okay, so I have a number 4, so I have to stop. Then it says to add up the whole right side, and that will give me my quotient. The quotient is our answer to division problem. So I'm going to add this 30 plus 20. That would be 60. 80 plus 8 more. That would be 88. I need to write that up here because that's where we write the answers to our division problems. The quotient is 88. Check. If there are leftovers, they are the remainder. Do I have leftovers? Yes. How many? 4. That means after I gave each group 88 buttons, I still had 4 buttons left over. So we write that as remainder 4 or leftover 4. And that'd be it. That is Big 7 in a nutshell. This part right here, as we get older and more used to this part goes away and we can start doing those things in our head. That's it. Hope you enjoy it. Practice at home. Bye-bye.